Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the J's Sit Down podcast. I'm your host, Jade. I'm here today with Coach Ishmael McNeil. He's the head football coach at Wickensburg High School out there in Wickenburg, Arizona. So he is joining us from a good ways away. I'm based here in Atlanta, so he's out there in Arizona. So thank you, Coach, for joining us on the podcast today.
I appreciate you having me. I'm excited to be on.
Yes, sir. So, Coach, just talk a bit about this past season for you guys there. You went 5-5. I mean, I know that wasn't what you wanted, but just if you could sum up the season and just kind of talk about it for you guys and how it was.
Yeah, it was a little bit of adversity this year. Starting with myself, I tore my patella tendon to start the year, so I missed probably the first 2.5, 3 weeks of camp, kind of coaching from my bed after surgery there. But thankfully, I got a good staff who held the team together and ran the show for me while I was out. Finally got back in like the straight leg cast and then the brace and crutches. But we started 1-4 this year. We struggled on offense, especially. Had to find our way. Didn't really find our way until about the 4th, 5th game. Took a couple QB changes. But we found our way, made some adjustments on offense, and we finished strong 4-1 this year. So super proud of our kids and our staff. Just keeping it together, because when you start 1-4, it can be tough. To turn things around. But the kids believed in what we were doing, and they did a great job down the stretch.
Absolutely, Coach. Yeah, that's it. So just talk about a few of those guys on your team, that stepped up to you and your staff this year, and they played really well. Just talk about those guys.
Yeah, of course. So our senior class was exceptional this year. We're losing 13 guys. 11 of those guys started on either side of the ball. But the big guys that stood out this year, our biggest guy would probably be Trace Buchert. He's part of that turnaround for us at the halfway point of the season. His guy played a little quarterback for us as a junior, but we had 2 other guys start the year as our quarterbacks. We eventually ended up with Trace, and he helped lead our team. His big qualities is his leadership. He might not throw the ball the farthest or throw the tightest spiral, but his leadership ability is unmatched. And the kids really followed him, and he helped us, down the stretch, and that change really helped us, and we finished 4-1. And going along with that, the kid we started at quarterback to start the year, he's also a senior, Ben Baker. He could have flushed the year and said, I'm not quarterback anymore. Who really cares? But he went on to be our best receiver once we made the change. Led our team in receiving and touchdowns, had a 200-yard game, 1 point this season. So he really did a great job. He's going to play JUCO out in Cali. Trace is going to go rodeo in Oregon. And then on the defensive side, we had a lot of guys stand out, but the 2 biggest to me was our senior defensive back, Rafa Herrera. He was always around the ball hawk, goes and gets it. Was first team all region. Honorable mention All-State here in Arizona. He's going to play at a first-year, fifth-year program here in Goodyear. And then we also had a kid, Sawyer McClure. He was pretty much our Swiss Army knife. He's about 5'8", 5'9", maybe 160 soaking wet, but he played every position we had for him on defense, but he really stood out at the linebacker position during that second half of the year. So those 4 guys had a great year this year and, help us be successful on the field.
Yeah, good deal. So, Coach, talk about how you got into where you're right now, being a head coach. Just talk about that journey for you, because it's different for everybody, and, everybody has their reasons why they become coaches, why they get into this profession. What was that for you?
Yeah, of course. So, I'm blessed. I became the head coach here at 26 years old. So, a lot of guys, it takes a while to get that head coach position. But for me, so I got into coaching, I had some coaches my senior year of high school that I didn't get along with. And, I love the sport of football, but that year I didn't really enjoy it. And then I went on to play at Earlham College and Linfield College and had some great coaches there. At that second half of my career at Linfield College, I wasn't the best player. That's a program that's had 67, 68 consecutive winning seasons. So playing-wise, I wasn't playing as much as I was used to, but I started to learn that I like to coach guys up. I help the young guys learn the schemes and things like that. So that's kind of the point in my junior year of college where I learned I wanna be in the coaching profession. So from there, I went on to go. You got to send your papers everywhere, your resumes everywhere. So send it all over the country. I end up getting a defensive internship at Lebanon Valley College in Pennsylvania. Was there 2 years under Coach Bueller, and Coach Drake was the DC. He's now the head coach. Those guys, great guys, did a great job helping me out. My head coach actually from Earlham helped me get the job. Small world. I played against the D coordinator in college, so he knew of me, and that also helped get me the job. And then another thing happened. I went to an AFC coaches convention, sat at a table, got talking to the guy at the table with me. He ended up being the head coach here at Wickenburg, where I am now. But I played for his son-in-law in college at Linfield. So he stayed in touch with me after my internship finished at Lebanon Valley. He got me out here teaching weight training and biology. And then I was an assistant for him for 2 years. And he took a job in Oregon. And, I got the job here as the head coach, and I've been the head coach the last 2 years.
Yeah, great deal. So, Coach, talk about your offensive and defensive philosophy. Like when people, when teams are going to go play Wickenburg, what should they expect to see on Friday night? So, what do you want your team to be out there offensively, defensively?
The biggest thing for me is just physical. We got to be physical. We're a 4-2-5 base defense. I'm a defensive guy. This year, I actually gave up the reins as defensive coordinator, helped one of my assistants who's aspiring to be a head coach, help him grow. So I helped him with that. But our biggest thing is we're going to be physical on both sides of the ball. We want people, no matter if we win or lose, the next day we want that team to be sore from playing us. Defensive scheme wise, we're going to get after you. We're going to blitz a lot, try to mix up our coverages, and just put pressure on you consistently. Offensive wise, same thing. We're going to be physical, but we're going to try to get our best players the ball no matter where they're at. So we try to spread it around. This year, our offensive line struggled a little bit. So we went more to a running scheme, and that helped turn us around halfway through the year. But my biggest thing for both sides is just you got to fit, especially the high school level. You're not really recruiting kids, so you're going to have different kids every year. But you got to fit the scheme to those kids. And I think we've done a pretty good job the last couple of years doing that.
Yeah, and I think it's important, too, what you just mentioned, like having your scheme cater to what your kids can do. Because if you try to run a scheme that your players can't execute because their talent doesn't allow them to, or maybe lack thereof, as far as in regards to what you want to run offensively, defensively, it's not going to work for you. So you have to, as a coach, I guess, cater to what your kids can go out there and do on the field. Yeah,
exactly. It's not about what the coaches know, it's what your kids know and what they can do. So we can know all these great schemes and stuff, but like you said, if our kids aren't able to do it or understand it, it doesn't really matter.
That's it. It's like if I guess you could say you're a coach and you got a wide receiver, he can't catch. Or none of your receivers can really catch. You're more likely they're not going to be, an air raid offense, right? You're not going to be throwing the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
So, interesting thing in there. Head coach. So, talk about what are like your mantras there at the school? I know every program has their mantras, like, hey, whether it's we're going to be effort in everything we do, we're going to be physical and this and that. What would you say is your overall philosophy as a team? What you guys, what's your mantra there?
I stole this straight from my coach at Linfield. So we got our 4 character pillars that we have. So it's team excellence, attitude, and character. So we preach that to our guys. And it's big because we want those things to also carry over in their life. We want them to understand that at some point football is going to end, and these things we're preaching to you are good for on the field and off the field. So with team, we want them to understand that a lot of times you're going to put other people first to be a good teammate. You can't always be thinking about yourself. Same thing out in the world. Once you have a wife and kids or you're in the workforce, you can't always be focused on yourself. Excellence, we just want the kids to strive to be the best them. We don't want our freshman wide receiver comparing himself to our senior wide receiver because, they're different points of their life and career, different body types sometimes, so just understanding to be the best you. A lot of kids, are on Instagram, TikTok these days and comparing themselves to, professional athletes or the athletes they see on there. And they got to be more realistic and understand that that's not who they are and they got to strive to be the best them. Our attitude, we just preach positivity. If you go into a game thinking like, these guys are the best team in the state, we got no chance, you're not going to have a chance. Same thing in the classroom. You go in there and you're thinking, I got no chance to pass this test, you're probably not going to pass the test. And the last one, character. Our biggest thing is, what are you doing when people aren't around? You can look good in front of a crowd and pick up some trash, but are you going to pick up that piece of trash when it's just you and nobody can see you? So we preach that big time.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that right there. Like you said, team first, and your excellence in what you do. Your attitude is extremely important, right? It's like you said, your attitude determines your effectiveness. So when you go out there, if you have a pissy attitude, it's probably not gonna be a good day for you. It's probably, if you go into practice saying, man, this is gonna be a sucky practice, it's probably gonna be a sucky practice. So, hey, look,
exactly.
Coach, I'll admit I'm guilty. I was that player sometimes. I was like, man, I don't want this is gonna be a bad practice, and it ended up being a bad practice. So, that's how it goes. So, but it's just a matter of, oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we all been there, man. I mean, you come out of practice, especially here, we're out in the desert, so there'll be some days it's 115. You look at your weather map or whatever, and you're like, oh, damn, we're practicing. It's going to be 110 degrees when we're practicing. Today's going to suck. It's probably going to suck, like you said. So we all been there.
Yeah, just got to have that mind. It's like it's perspective, and, it's like, hey, am I going to get better today? I got to get 1% better each day. So,
yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, Coach, talk about just what is your most funniest memory out of being coach so far? Like, what's the funniest thing that's happened, that whether it's been with your team or whatever, just that you can think of? I'm just curious.
Yeah, Coach. So I'll share this. We got a coach on staff. He was born with no arms and legs. He's our DC, Coach Carter Crossland. And so he's been with us 2 seasons since I took over. And this past season, we were struggling to catch the ball at one point in the season, and we're together as a team, and I'm preaching to our skill guys, hey, look the ball in, make sure you tuck it. And Coach Carter, he spoke up and he's like, that's my bad, guys. I've been teaching, they've been with me too much. And, he's got no arms and legs, so it's pretty funny. And he's a great guy to have on staff because, like we were talking about with attitude, when you have a kid that comes out there with a bad attitude, Coach Carter is, you can just point to Coach Carter. He's out here in his wheelchair, no arms and legs, fix your attitude. But that was probably one of the funniest moments that we've had, or I've had so far coaching.
Okay, that's cool. I wanted to know that. So, last thing here, pretty much, Coach, as we wrap up, what's some advice that you would give out there to guys who are trying to get into the coaching profession, who want to be head coaches one day, and what would you say to them as they try to start that journey for themselves?
The biggest thing is network. And with networking, though, like I talked about my career path, a lot of the people you already know are going to be a part of that network. The first job I got is because I played against a guy in college. The next job I got, I played for a guy's son-in-law. So always be professional in everything you're doing. You never know who's watching, but network, get your name out there, reach out. Don't be afraid to send emails. And nowadays you got Twitter, shoot somebody a DM and say, can we talk some ball? Things like that. Like, get yourself out there. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Coach, thank you for joining us on the show today with Jay's Fit Down. Like I said, wish you the best of luck next season, you and your team. And, hope you guys do great there. And we appreciate your time coming on and talking some ball with us tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jay. Thanks for getting all the way out to Wickensburg, man.
Hey, look, I'm trying to make my way through the country as best I can, just talking to different coaches, getting their different perspectives. That's why I started this edition on the podcast. Just want to get different insights and different, how coaches run their programs and things like that. So it's very interesting hearing these different perspectives. So
Yeah, man, it's awesome to hear your stuff. Keep doing it, man.
yes, sir. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it.
Have a good one, Jay.
You too.